The night Ethan Walker decided to end his life was quiet, almost peacefully quiet. The city lights reflected off the river like broken glass, shimmering beneath the steel bridge where he stood. Cars passed behind him, but no one noticed the man gripping the railing, staring down into the dark water below. At 34, Ethan felt like a ghost in his own life. His construction business had collapsed after a legal dispute he couldn't afford to fight. Debt collectors called daily. His friends slowly disappeared when he stopped answering messages. And 6 months earlier, his fiancée had left, saying she couldn't watch him fall apart anymore. That sentence echoed in his mind more than anything else. Fall apart. That's exactly what he felt like. He hadn't slept properly in weeks. He hadn't eaten a full meal in days. Depression wrapped around him like cold chains, convincing him the world would move on easier without him in it. So he climbed the bridge railing, hands trembling, heart strangely calm. He closed his eyes and stepped forward. "Don't." The voice was firm, urgent, human. Ethan froze. He turned slightly and saw a woman standing a few feet away. She looked out of breath, like she had run to get there. "Please," she said, softer now. "Step down." "This doesn't concern you," he muttered. "It does if you jump." He almost laughed, a hollow, bitter sound. "You don't even know me." She took one careful step closer. "You're right," she said. "But I know pain when I see it." Her name was Maya. She didn't shout, didn't lecture, didn't guilt him. She just talked. About nothing at first, the cold air, the traffic, the way the river always looked darker at night. It confused him enough to keep him listening. Then she said something that cut through the fog. "I stood where you're standing 2 years ago." He looked at her fully for the first time. She rolled up her sleeve, revealing a faint hospital bracelet scar. "I lost my brother. Lost my job. Lost myself," she said. "I thought ending my life would end the pain." He swallowed hard. "What stopped you?" he asked. She met his eyes. "Someone who refused to leave me alone." Silence stretched between them, heavy, fragile. "So now," she said gently, "I refuse to leave you alone." Something inside him cracked. Not dramatically, not loudly, just enough. His grip on the railing loosened. His knees buckled as he stepped back onto the bridge, collapsing onto the pavement. The sobs came fast and uncontrollable, months of buried despair pouring out at once. Maya didn't try to fix it. She just sat beside him. That night didn't magically solve everything. Ethan didn't wake up happy the next morning. But he wasn't alone anymore. Maya checked on him. First by text. Then coffee meetings. Then long walks where he talked more than he had in years. She introduced him to her therapist's support group. Helped him restructure his debts. Encouraged him to take small construction gigs again, not to rebuild his business yet, just to rebuild his confidence. Progress was slow. Painfully slow. There were setbacks, days he shut down, nights he felt the darkness creeping back. But Maya never minimized his struggle. "You don't heal in a straight line," she told him. "You heal in circles that get wider." Months passed. Friendship turned into trust. Trust turned into something deeper. One evening, while renovating a small cafe for a client, Ethan caught Maya watching him, smiling quietly. "What?" he asked. "You look alive again," she said. He realized she was right. Their relationship didn't begin with fireworks. It began with honesty. They talked about their worst days, their fears, their therapy sessions, their triggers. Nothing was hidden. Nothing romanticized. And maybe that's why it was so strong. 2 years after the bridge, Ethan had rebuilt his construction company. Smaller, smarter, debt-free. Maya had started a non-profit supporting mental health crisis intervention, inspired by her brother. And by the night she met Ethan. Then came the twist neither of them expected. During a charity fundraiser her non-profit hosted, Maya invited a guest speaker, the man who had saved her life on the bridge years ago. Ethan met him backstage. And froze. It was the same off-duty paramedic who had pulled Ethan back from the railing 10 minutes before Maya arrived, when Ethan had first climbed up but panicked and stepped down briefly. Ethan had never told Maya that part. He had almost tried twice that night. The realization hit him like lightning. Two strangers had intervened within minutes, without knowing each other, as if fate had built a wall between him and the fall. When he told Maya later, tears filled her eyes. "Maybe you were never meant to die that night," she whispered. "Maybe you were meant to live, so we could meet." A year later, they stood on the same bridge again. But this time, not at the edge. In the center, wearing wedding rings. Below them, the river still flowed, dark, powerful, indifferent. But Ethan no longer saw it as an escape. He saw it as a boundary between two lives. The man who wanted to disappear, and the man who built a family instead. When their daughter was born the following spring, Ethan held her in his arms and thought about the bridge again, how close she had come to never existing. Maya squeezed his hand. "You're here," she said softly. "That's what matters." He nodded, emotion thick in his throat. Because the greatest twist of his story wasn't the business recovery, or the marriage, or even the child. It was that the night he tried to end his life became the night his real life finally began. Years passed, but Ethan never forgot the bridge, not with fear anymore, but with gratitude. It became a quiet symbol in his life, a reminder of the thin line between endings and beginnings. One evening, while helping Maya prepare for another mental health fundraiser, he noticed a young man standing alone outside the venue, pale, anxious, distant in the same way Ethan once was. Without thinking, Ethan walked over. "Hey," he said gently. "You okay?" The man hesitated, then shook his head. They talked for nearly an hour on the steps, about debt, heartbreak, feeling like a burden. Ethan listened, not as a savior, but as someone who understood the darkness firsthand. Before leaving, he handed the man a small card from Maya's nonprofit. "There's help," Ethan said. "And there's time, even when it doesn't feel like it." As the man walked away, Ethan felt something shift inside him. He realized the twist of his life story wasn't just that he had been saved. It was that he had become part of the chain that saves others. That night, lying beside Maya, he whispered, "You didn't just save me, you gave me a reason to stay." She smiled, intertwining her fingers with his. And for the first time, the bridge behind him felt fully closed, not forgotten, but transformed into purpose. Months later, Ethan stood on the bridge again, this time with volunteers from Maya's nonprofit, placing crisis hotline signs along the railing. Where despair once lived, hope now stood, and he was part of it. As the sun set over the river, Ethan watched people pause to read the signs. Some walked on, but some stayed. And in those quiet moments, he knew, his pain hadn't been meaningless. It had become someone else's second chance.